Hello and welcome back to College Disc Golf News, your home for everything college disc golf. I am your host, of course, Nickens, bringing back everything that has happened this weekend to your all's attention. If you're new here, make sure you like and subscribe. That way we can keep growing the channel. That way we can keep getting this out to more people. It's such a fun time and a great community, so I hope you guys stick around. Hit that like and leave a comment about your maybe you were at an event this week, how it was, and yeah, can't wait to hear from y'all down in the comments. So I'm going to be moving through this very quickly today. There is a lot of events to cover. Very quickly, I want to make sure that I get to spend the diligent time on kind of the breakdown of the Mid-Atlantic regional that happened. So I'm going to quickly go through some kind of smaller events that happened, some with kind of smaller storylines to kind of keep up with, and then we're going to go into the big hitters this weekend. So we're going to start off with the Missouri kickoff. It's something that I just worked on just a second ago, posting. And yeah, as you can see, Jared Brabant of Missouri takes down singles with then Major Cardant finishing up second with one down, tied with Carson Bowman. If you are listening on Spotify, you can't really see it, but it's a host of Missouri Tigers, even from D2, and even Abriel Smith on D3 playing super well. You don't really hear much out of Mizzou, especially after their ladies' national championship win with Alexis Kerman. And honestly, don't hear much out of Missouri, but it's good to see them kind of back in the mix. Major Carden, podium finisher with D3 last year, so he's leading that Mo State squad back. And Missouri State had a couple guys in there in the mix. Ethan Kuhn, even, and Chance Howard went over. But as you can probably tell, Missouri just kind of dominated this event. And yeah, Missouri ends up winning by 6 strokes over Missouri S&T, who shot even. Missouri's B team was just 2 strokes behind them in third place, and then Mo State with 3 over. Now, Mo State didn't play bad. They just had one guy who tanked his singles round, and I think if, they had that back, Mo State would have been more in the mix, but that's what happens. Sometimes you have a bad round, and it affects your rating average, and you don't end up where you should be. But excited to see the Missouri teams back in playing, and hopefully here at some regionals here soon. Over in Waynesville, Ohio, we had the Gem City Conference Clash with a lot of the Ohio teams and the rating champs coming back out and playing for the first time. We had Ohio State and Dayton trying to prove what they're worth, trying to say, hey, we could take down Cincinnati. There are some funny memes on UC Discats Instagram about this event. So no spoilers, but you should check that out definitely after I tell you what went down. So they were playing the gold layout at Echo Valley, and turns out, Cincinnati can play. Isn't that crazy? So the Cincinnati Bearcats, the reigning national champions for 2 years in a row, can play disc golf. Crazy. Ilken Grow takes it 6 down. First place, Bradley Caldwell and Tanner Young were 5 down each. Logan Rambo from the B team, though, no slouch, was able to get fourth place. And then the first of only two other players in the top 10 not from Cincinnati, or three, that is, was Tyler Silliman at 1 down, leading the Dayton Racers. Then Kyle Terwilliger from Cincinnati in sixth place at even, and then it was pretty much 4 strokes between that top six and then everybody below them. Evan Philippi from Ohio State at 4 over, Osher Grow, Ilkin's brother, at 4 over, and Luke Elliott 6 over. Jason Caldwell at 8 over, and from Dayton. And as you can already tell, I have listed 7 Cincinnati Bearcats to only 3 of the players from the other teams. And after singles, it was pretty much a done deal. Cincinnati had already pretty much clinched unless they had a horrible round in the teams round, which probably was not going to happen. And yeah, as I was saying, dude, it's Cincinnati. What are you going to do? 13 down. 13 down. That is 9 strokes over second place, which is also Cincinnati's B team. That B team came in second place. And then you take it down even further, even was Dayton, the University of Dayton, Ohio State at 3 over. Again, champs don't even have to qualify. They don't even have to they don't have to. They just have to play this conference event, and they could be done for the year. But they're probably though, and then their competitors, they'll be at Midwest Collegiate trying to take it down. They're looking strong. They're looking absolutely nasty this year. So it's going to be really exciting to see them. They are picking up where they left off. Man, 13 strokes to the next team, and then 16 strokes to Ohio State. An incredible result from Cincinnati. They are going to be, again, a team to watch out for. They've only lost one guy, and they're still so stinking good. We're going to jump over to Flagstaff, Arizona, where the Flagstaff Collegiate was going down. We had three teams in attendance. Actually, four. We had four teams in attendance. We had Arizona State, Northern Arizona, Grand Canyon, and the University of Arizona. So all the Arizona teams coming out for their collegiate event, first collegiate event of the years. Had to do a lot of research. I love UDisc, but man, you just can't tell who's on whose team. So it took me like an hour to figure it all out. But as you can tell, I did eventually figure it out. And Ben Meyer of Arizona State was able to take down singles. But there is a host of Northern Arizona guys all on this list. In fact, there were six of them at this event. So just like at Echo Valley here at Thorpe Park in Flagstaff, Northern Arizona doing really, really solid, picking up where they left off last year. Atticus Averin was also tied 8 down. They lost in the playoff. Isaac Yazzie, also from Northern Arizona, lost in the playoff to Ben Meyer. Henry Mayos at 7 down from Arizona State. He was the lone other Arizona State player on this list with Ben Meyer. Then you had Josh Moore and Christian. Oh, I'm not even going to say his last name, from Grand Canyon at 5 down. Canyon James at 4 down from Northern Arizona. Tanner Petone at 4 down from Northern Arizona. Then Sam Nicholson, 3 down from Grand Canyon. And Noah Putnam, 3 down from Northern Arizona. So, again, a lot of Northern Arizona, I think, fished 11th last year in D1 and D2. I think they were top 20 as well. So, trying to pick up where they left off. But Arizona State and Grand Canyon, don't sleep on them. They've got some players, but clearly there's kind of a gap between them and Northern Arizona that you will see represented in the team scores. So without ratings, I don't really know how this all stacks up together, and I didn't really predict it. Like the other events, pretty much where I'm at on it. Northern Arizona wins by 3 strokes over Arizona State. They're at 22 down. ASU at 19 down. Then Northern Arizona's B team at 15 down. Again, very solid. Their team littered in the top 20. Then Arizona's A team and Grand Canyon's A team tied at 13 down. Then there was a gap between them and the bottom 3 teams, which were all D2 teams in Arizona State, Arizona, and Grand Canyon. Arizona State, out of those B teams, was 9 down, then Arizona 4 down, Grand Canyon 3 down. Again, without ratings and stuff, I'm still kind of waiting to see where they are. We know Northern Arizona is very quality, even if I don't know much about this course and what's going on. So definitely be on the eye out for them. I'm interested to see where they're at and where they land on the regionals. We'll have to see them at the West Coast Regional, of course, the Southwest Shootout, which is coming up. I don't think too much longer from now, and so being on the lookout to them. Wanted to give these scores out, even if I don't have much to say on them. So I was 1-on-1 through the previous ones that I predicted. And this one, man, I got wrong. And I think everybody in the country who is looking at this Tiger Town Throwdown event probably would have predicted wrong as well. Looking at the scores, you're looking at singles right now. If you're on YouTube, you've got Shane McCullen finally winning his first event of the year. Had some struggles in college disc golf, but finally takes down at home the win at 6 down, over 1,000 rated. I think about a 1030 rated round. So congrats to him. Davidson McMurray at 5 down. Then you had WCU, Matthew Splain, 3 down. You had 2 Carolina teammates and Jasper Till and Zane Kaiser at even. Jasper had a very relatively normal round till from the last time that I saw him, so congrats to him. We also see a new team up there for the first time, Coastal Carolina. Javen Goddard leading them with an even, and Ari Condor for the first time this year, also in the top 10. Congrats to him. But 2 more WCU players in the mix. In that top 10, you had Khalil Henson at 2 over, and of course, Zach Rice, new to the WCU team for this year. Not that he hasn't played this year, but like new to this team in terms of playing this year at even. And then Brandon Wright, the lone Charlotte Niner there in the top 10. And as you can already tell, man, UNC's not all up in there. WCU is leading the way coming out of singles. What an absolute shocker. I was not ready for this. What is going on? WCU leading the way over Clemson heading into the teams round. And I was telling you, Grand Central Station is no joke. It's got a lot going on. You've got all this elevation. You got to hit gaps. You're getting through the trees. It is difficult. And so you're going to need shoot your best in order to play well. You're going to have your whole team ready to go, firing all cylinders. And it was going to come down to the wire at the Tiger Town Throwdown. But in shocking fashion, Western Carolina ties with Clemson and Charlotte in their teams round. They all shot 8 down. And man, I was watching this one, I was keeping up with it, and I could not believe it. Now, this is a different Western Carolina team that they had previously. All of these guys were all 940 and up on their team. So this is the first time that I think they had their full roster there for Western Carolina. I mean, it really was just back and forth. Western Carolina on hole 1 picks up the birdie. Then Clemson goes back to back to tie it up. They both birdie 5, but then Western Carolina birdie 6. Clemson birdie 7. They're still only up by 1. Then Western Carolina gets 9. But Clemson gets 10 and 11. They both get 12. And so heading into the final 6 holes, they're tied. They're tied going in the final 6 holes. Western Carolina picks up 14. Then Clemson and Western Carolina pick up 16. But then a bogey on 16 seals it. Western Carolina picks up the birdie on 17. And that just is curtains for Clemson. They pick up on birdie on 18, but it's too little too late. UNC Charlotte, while they were kind of in the mix, they just didn't pick up enough birdies in the process to really put it into the mix together. And so it was absolutely a battle the entire time. But Western Carolina shocks the Carolinas Conference and picks up the win at Tiger Town. Impressive stuff by then. They were kind of in this top 3. It was pretty settled between them, Clemson and Charlotte. But North Carolina at even. This was without Anselmo, so keep that in mind. You also had Anderson at 1 over, so shout out to them. Some South Carolina's doing well. And App State at 2 over. I predicted them to be in the top 5, then they ended up not making it. So exciting stuff coming out of the Carolinas Conference. Always a fun time to watch them. And so, yeah, keep your eye on it. It's always super fun. And, yeah, it's a shocker, for me at least, coming out of the Carolinas Conference. So that leads us to the Mid-Atlantic Regional. Now, again, if you didn't watch my preview, you might not know, but this round is only 2 events. Or 2 rounds, that is. This event's only 2 rounds. And while that is, in a way, cool, because instead of doing a 3rd round, they do a final singles, what ends up happening is that the teams rounds and the bids can be a little wonky. It can lead to a lot tighter battles. I don't know necessarily if 2 rounds is really enough to show, who is the best at this event or course. I really feel like you need 3 to kind of get an idea. And even then, 4, I think, is really what shows it, like especially at nationals, how like over a long period of time. But I understand, it's really cool they get to crown a singles champion. So let's kind of get into it, because again, this is real. What this is really going to come down to is singles rounds. If you have a really high singles round, you're probably pretty much out of it. You have 1 round to do, so you need to keep it low. You need to keep it in the fairway, especially on a tight course like High Banks. So you're looking at the single scores for D1, and you see a lot of EMU, you see UK, you see the University of Kentucky, and you see Ohio, and Michigan State. And those were kind of your teams after the singles rounds that were going to be able to be within a distance of kind of tracking down this win. Zach Sisson of Houghton was your leader going into their final 9 round. He was at 11 down. Of course, the reigning champ Jesse Longenecker from EMU, from Eastern Mennonite, at 10 down. Then you had 2 Wildcats, Cody Roberts at 9 down, Camden Barnes with a really impressive 7 down, Lincoln Lloyd from Michigan State at 6 down, Teo Andreas 6 down for Eastern Mennonite. Then you had a couple of Bobcaps from Ohio, had Isaiah Bookman at 5 down, Cohen Maynard at 5 down. Then you had a Nittany Lion, John Carbon at 5 down, and then Paul Roberts bringing up another Wildcat. So as you can tell, just by looking at it, the Kentucky Wildcats were leading going into this event. I had predicted them 5th. I knew they were good. I just didn't know how good in comparison to the other teams. The other teams had Jesse and Zach, also some 940 guys. So I didn't know, if Kentucky could measure up to the firepower of the other teams. And man, they proved me wrong. Appalachia Conference. They're a deep conference, and Kentucky coming out of the lead from singles. Going into day 2 in the driver's seat. But it still was anybody's game. Now, the average for Kentucky, I think, was 5 down. You had Eastern Mennonite at 2 down. You then had Houghton at 2 down. You had Ohio at 1 down. And you had Michigan State at 1 down. So again, anybody's game. Anybody could really take this going into the team round on Sunday. Now, heading over to D2, you had Jake Fenimore and Mason Hughes tied at 3 down. I think technically Mason wins on the final 9. They're not going to show up in the end, but congrats to Mason Hughes from Toledo. I thought Mason Hughes could lead these Toledo guys to do well, but that was pretty much done after the first 4 holes. Man, unfortunately, the lower guys on their team, they were already like 5-6 down through the first 3 or 4 holes. So Toledo did not finish in the top 5. They're already out of it. So unfortunate for me and my predictions. Similar thing happened with Trevor Goodyear and Buffalo. He's up in tied for third with 2 down. Cooper Harmon, Kentucky, 2 down. Nathan Dujisha, 1 down for the Nittany Lions. Then Jacob Wisby from not the United Kingdom, from Kentucky at even. Declan Flanagan at Penn State, and Gabe Shuck from Ohio were 1 over, and then you had Rochester Institute, Graham Van Dyke at 2 over, and Justy Brown at 2 over. You can kind of definitely see the gap between D1 and D2. 3 down being the top of D2. Didn't even make, I don't think, the top 10 for D1. So D1, just, a really tough division. But I told you, D2, anything can happen. The Nittany Lions, as you're already seeing, they were the team to beat. They had the best score. I think they ended up even after their team rounds. Everybody else was way, 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 way behind in terms of their team scores. So really, it was going to come down to, who was going to get hot during the team rounds to take it at the Mid-Atlantic Regional. On the ladies' side of things, you had Annie Lordy taken down for Pitt. She was 7 strokes ahead of the pair of Eastern Mennonite players, Miriam Rhodes and Naomi Kratzer. They finished out our podium, but Annie Lordy, again, I told y'all last week, if her round was rated, it would have been 870. This week she comes out, she was 840, 850. She is really dang good. Unfortunately, her teammate did not have the best of rounds. I think her name's Alexandra Speaker. I think she's still learning the game, but I think if Alexandra can, continue learning throughout this year, man, this is a dangerous pair that you could definitely watch out for. Mary Rhodes and Naomi Kratzer, they balance each other out well, 11 over and 13 over respectively. But then you had the Houghton girls, Emily Schweigart and Carolyn Powers, also doing really well. So shout out to them. They're no slouches either. Excited to see. So this is going to come down to teams round. This was a lot closer than much of the other races in terms of first place. So we're going to get into that and look into that for the ladies round here in a second. So for the team side of things, man, D1 made this course look very easy. Turns out, it only took a 12 down to really get it done for Kentucky. Now, Eastern Mennonite came out the gates firing. They went 6 of 6 for the first 6 holes. Kentucky only got 3. However, on the back 9, they went 8 down on the last 9, and it really shored up for Eastern Mennonite because they went on a dry streak from 7 to 10, and they birdied out from 11 to 18 to guarantee second, but just wasn't enough to really send it to a playoff to get there. Kentucky had made too much of a lead in singles. Now on the third place position. Now there's 3 bids here, and it really came down to Houghton versus Ohio. Houghton started out slow with parring the first 3 holes. Ohio birdied 3 of the first 4. Then from 5 to 8, Ohio went on a dry streak, parred out 5 through 8. Houghton birdied out. Then 9 through 11, Houghton went 2 down to Ohio's 4 down. And then each team got 4 down the last 5 holes. So it came down to a playoff, and Ohio ends up losing to Houghton. That's heartbreaking for them. I definitely had them underrated coming into it. But they definitely showed out. So congrats to Ohio. I'm definitely checking you guys out. You guys are doing really well. So again, shout out Bobcats. Michigan State, they didn't have their full squad, so I'm not shocked that they're in 5th. I definitely expected more for them. But, hey, what are you going to do? No, Sam Kelly and RG Menching are not bad players. They just don't have their full squad. And they were very close, only 4 strokes away from getting to Ohio, but wasn't enough. Penn State, funnily enough, did not end up, qualifying where their D2 team did. And same thing with Pitt. And we're going to get to D2, but Pitt's D2 team outperformed their D1 team. And this isn't like a Colorado School of Mines thing where, they put their D2 team in for their D1 team. No. This was the same course. They played the same layout, and their D2 team trounced their D1 team. So let's talk about D2. Penn State and Pitt, I'm just going to let you spoil it now. Penn State ran away with it, and so did Pitt. When I say in the teams rounds, Pitt B trounced their A team, I'm not joking. Pitt's A team went 1 over in the teams round. Pitt B, they went 11 down, tying with some A team players. Very impressive stuff for them. Again, I checked their ratings. This seems to be like their legit B team, and especially from their previous event, I'm very shocked. Congrats to Pitt, the Pitt Panthers getting in there. Penn State kept it clean. They really didn't have to do much. They were so far ahead after singles. 10 down, easy, breezy round was going to secure it. Really, this came down to the third spot. It was going to be Kentucky versus Ohio. Eastern Mennonite, Rochester. Rochester had a chance, but they had such a slow round, only going 1 down. They couldn't catch back up. Slippery Rock, Toledo, and Buffalo were so far out of it. So really, again, Ohio just on the cusp of trying to get in versus a Kentucky team. And Kentucky started out hot. They went on the back 9. They started on the back 9, I'm pretty sure. They went 7 down through the back 9. I think they started out with a bogey on 9, though, if I remember correctly. So they were 6 down total. And then the front 9 came, and they really slowed up. Ohio was chipping away at that lead through 6 holes. They brought it down to 3 down. They were within 1 stroke of the last 2 holes, and they couldn't pull it out. They go par, and Kentucky, 1 stroke lead ahead, ends up par as well, and Kentucky takes it down. I mean, just a brutal weekend for Ohio if you're a Bobcat. They played so well, deserved a bid. I'm sure we'll see him in the future somewhere get one, but that's so tough. This is definitely a regional where it was up in the air. They could have got it. And at the end of the day, it came down just to a couple holes. They weren't able to secure it. However, a lot of teams in their division, they'll play against them again. Penn State, Pitt, Kentucky, They don't have a Benny Bohr. And on the D1 side, Eastern Mennonite, who they'll play a lot and see a lot. Kentucky again, who they'll see a lot. Houghton, not so much. But again, there's these teams that they'll probably play at similar regionals that already have a bid, and I'm sure by the time they play those closer regionals, especially in March, April, a lot of those teams they're playing, they don't have one. So I think I would definitely keep my eye out on Ohio. I like them a lot. I love the way they played this weekend. A lot of heart. They never gave up. They were always in the mix. And when you have those kinds of players that are willing to, they played clean, they played well, they just didn't get it done in singles. And if they get it done in singles, this team absolutely has the talent, absolutely has the ability to make it into a D1 or D2 bid. So congrats to them. Again, I'm excited for the rest of the year, especially seeing these guys all play. It is going to be super fun to see how it all happens. Well, that is it. Thank you for sticking around if you stayed around this long. 25 minutes worth of content. It's always fun, but make sure you're leaving that like, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm excited to see what happens the rest of the year. And yeah, this next weekend we've got the Midwest Collegiate Takeover and some other events coming down. So make sure you're staying in the loop. You'll see predictions of that here soon. And after that weekend, I'll be starting to compile and get together predictions for October and how that went together. And this week, you should be also seeing some stuff from me. I'm going to be putting out my rankings. It's a little different from what I do with College Disc Golf and the ranking system they do over there. Mine is a little different. I do some things a little differently, so I'm excited to put those out. And I will be doing D3. I love those D3 guys. I'm a D3 man myself, so I'll be putting out some content for you guys here soon. Again, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.